What's going on, everybody? Mike here with iSMELL, and yes, we are in fact back at it with another video, full review today, and one that I am particularly excited to bring to y'all. I purchased this one on a blind buy less than a week ago. It's very rare that I come to y'all with a full review less than a week after purchasing the fragrance, but I do make exceptions, especially when the fragrance itself is exceptional. This one comes from the house of Brioni. The name of this one is simply Brioni EDP Intense. So yeah, considering this is a full and in-depth review, we do have quite a bit to get through. I'm not here to waste anybody's time. Let's go ahead and get into it. So yeah, the house of Brioni. I did not know too much about this Italian house prior to pulling the trigger on Brioni EDP Intense. I bought this one as a blind buy. The catalyst for that blind buy was literally every single reviewer on YouTube giving this one high marks. Some people even going as far as to calling it a masterpiece.
Of course, quality, elegance, attractiveness, you name it, this has.
I think they did such a great job with this, and so I totally recommend it.
Oh my gosh, sexy, classy stuff here.
Eau de Parfum Intense surprised me a lot because of how much I liked it as soon as I smelled it.
Imagine I'm calling something like this one of the best perfumes, and it's not the most expensive either. I'm calling this a masterpiece.
Bold words for a designer fragrance. Again, after buying the fragrance and smelling it myself, I truly do believe this is niche level juice at a designer price. As it relates to price, I spent $55 on Macari. I bought it as a partial. It was about 90% full. So I think I spent right around $65 after shipping and whatnot. At that price point, again, it's an absolute steal, but even at $100, I do think the juice is worth the squeeze on this one because, again, I don't have anything in my collection that smells like this, and in 2026, there is literally nothing on Macy's, Dillard's that's gonna smell quite like Brioni EDP Intense. All right, so as I've established, I did purchase this one in the resale market from a vendor. In this case, the seller did not have a box, so I do not have a box to present. Considering this is a full and in-depth review though, I do want to do my due diligence and at least go a little bit into the bottle itself. Beautiful bottle, all black. The stitching on Brioni is an actual fabric. It's not plastic and it's not metal. I'll be honest, even after 6 years of collecting, I don't know what the difference is between a regular Eau de Parfum and an Eau de Parfum Intense. I don't know if it's a marketing gimmick or if the oils, the concentration of the oils are just slightly higher, kind of an in-between between Eau de Parfum and Parfum. Maybe that's actually what it is. This is a 100 milliliter bottle, and you will have a batch code at the bottom. All in all, it's a beautiful presentation. Not as much of a finger prick magnet as you would think. So yeah, that's a plus as well. And then obviously all of us, you know, fragrance enthusiasts, we're obsessed with magnetic caps, and this one does in fact have a magnetic cap. It doesn't click into place though. It will move around, but you can confidently hold it from the cap and there's gonna be no issues. All in all, pretty solid presentation, punches well above its weight, even in the presentation. I would give the presentation a solid 8 out of 10. All right, so let's start talking about notes. Let's start talking about what I smell, which are actually here for. I'll go ahead and read those notes off to you real quick. Up at the top, you're gonna get tangerine, bergamot, and pink pepper. Throughout the heart, you're gonna get green apple, saffron, as well as patchouli. And then in the base, you're gonna get oud, AKA agarwood, vanilla, as well as ambroxan. I will give you a couple sprays just so you can kind of gauge as to what the atomizer looks like. And it is a slightly pressurized atomizer, again, punching above its weight class. You can get a little bit, or you can get a lot. Very good atomizer. Bro, immediately right out of the gate, I can see why people had such high remarks, because it smells elegant and upscale with that Italian sophistication right out of the gate. The oils themselves smell incredibly well blended. You're gonna be hit immediately, y'all, with a combination of two things. It's going to be a citrus amalgamation with spicy pink pepper. Those citruses are going to be a juicy tangerine, almost even bordering on blood orange with a zesty kick of bergamot. And to be honest, I'm glad they did that because they created an opening that has the mass appealing designer sensibilities. And for some people, if it did not have that opening of citrus, a lot of people would find this fragrance to be quite challenging. The citruses also brighten up what otherwise would be a pretty dark composition. Now, very important to note that the fragrance develops through and into the mid fairly quickly, almost so much so that you're smelling both simultaneously at the same time. What you get is the most beautifully well-blended, juicy, tart green apple note. And the fragrance gets progressively more dark as it develops. This is not a super bright fragrance. The bottle conveys what this juice smells like. So you're getting fruity, fresh, kind of sweet green apple blended harmoniously with this luxurious, warm, spicy saffron. And it's that combination of saffron as well as that fresh green apple which gives this fragrance its texture. Those notes work very well in conjunction with one another. And then in the base, and again, similarly to how the opening works with the mid, if anything, it works in reverse even more so, because after about 10 minutes or so, most, if not all, of the citruses will have dissipated. The magic of Brioni EDP Intense is quite honestly in the dry down. It's very rare in my fragrance journey that I come across a fragrance, a new fragrance in my collection that evokes emotion out of me the entire wearing experience. And the oils themselves smell incredibly well blended, so much so that it even rivals some $300, $400 fragrances that I've smelled. And that's just the God's honest truth. The dry down can be a bit challenging for some, but the way they approached it, it was very thoughtful. You're gonna get a fair amount of oud in the dry down. It's not an animalic, stanky oud that smells like a barnyard. It is kind of medicinal, y'all, and not enough people have said that in the reviews, but it is just slightly medicinal. But they were very thoughtful in how they did it. If you've smelt Gucci Intense Oud, that's kind of the direction they went. Versace Oud Noir to a lesser degree in terms of the oud and how they approached the oud. It is multifaceted. It smells like dry woody resins blended with damp, dark woodiness. Both of those in conjunction. It sounds like they would be in opposition of each other, but again, the oud does a great job of giving this fragrance some character, depth. It envelops the whole scent profile at that point. So about 15 minutes in, you are definitely smelling the woody accords. And then it's going to be blended with this ever-present ambroxan note. It creates this invisible framework that kind of helps the fragrance push out, and then you're gonna get undertones of vanilla and earthy patchouli to just round out the composition. All in all, y'all, this is not your run-of-the-mill standard designer fragrance. Michel Almerac did an excellent job. He knocked it out of the park, which, in quite honesty, I, shamefully kind of regret that I had my, skepticisms. When I see somebody hyping the fragrance to the moon and back, I'm like, are they getting paid, or, what's the reason why they're giving this such high marks? But again, the juice is worth the squeeze on this one. The hype is real. He knocked it out of the park. Just to drive it all home, y'all, I think this fragrance is absolutely exceptional. All right, so let's just briefly touch on seasonality as well as, when and where you would wear it, including, performance, longevity, and as to whether this fragrance has the potential to draw in compliments, because I know a lot of people are hyper focused on that. So I can understand completely where people would think that Brioni EDP Intense is primarily a cold weather fragrance, and I wouldn't even disagree based upon the note breakdown, but I'm sitting here as unbiased as possible, letting y'all know that I truly believe that this fragrance could be utilized as a signature scent, meaning it could be worn all year. Quite frankly, I would wear Brioni EDP Intense in the same exact scenarios that I would wear Y Le Parfum from Yves Saint Laurent. Both of the bottles are dark, both of the compositions are dark, and they can both be worn in the exact same scenarios. Just go a little bit lighter on the trigger during the warmer months of the year and go a little bit heavier on the trigger during the colder months of the year. Again, it's gonna shine during nighttime wear, during cold weather, but I wore this one to work literally 2 days ago, about 4 or 5 sprays. It did not choke the room out. I smelled good. It has pretty good performance. Again, punches above its weight class in terms of longevity. I got about 6 hours worth of longevity. I do spray my clothes. I got about 3 hours on my skin when you spray your skin. In terms of the sillage, the ambroxan in this one helps the fragrance to push out. So again, I would say above average in that regards. And then seeing as there is no fragrance at Macy's or Dillard's that smells quite like Brioni EDP Intense, I do think you have a high likelihood of leaving a lasting scent impression or a lasting scent memory, aka a compliment. Just make sure that your game is tight and you're wearing it right, y'all. So it's the whole package. Fragrance is the ultimate accessory. It's what you put on at the very end, y'all. At the end of the day, though, the question is, do I recommend Brioni EDP Intense? Would I recommend it so much so that you should even pick it up on a blind buy? And my answer, if you cannot tell by now, is a resounding yes. You do have to like the darker compositions. If you like very woody fragrances, this one is going to be right up your alley. It can be worn in a whole host of scenarios. I would give this fragrance an overall strong 9 out of 10, especially for everything you're going to get. For $100 or less, for the presentation, for the aesthetic of the bottle, for the way it smells, for the way it performs in its unique factor, yeah, I think this fragrance deserves a 9 out of 10. So yes, I do recommend this fragrance. I strongly recommend it. And I think for those of y'all that are seasoned vets all the way to, you know, people that are just collecting casually that wear, you know, the mass appealing designer stuff, I do think this is a great entry point to check out something a bit more interesting and a bit more challenging. All right, y'all, so that's my thoughts and opinions on Brioni EDP Intense. I really do appreciate you checking out the video. More appreciative if you've watched until the end. For those of y'all that are still watching, y'all know I do a giveaway damn near every video. So this is what I want y'all to do. Go down to the comments, leave a comment, and let me know that you do want to check out Brioni EDP Intense, and I will send you a free 5 milliliter decant, just my way of saying thank you for checking out the full video. Listen, I'm well aware that I don't upload as much as some other people, but one thing I can promise y'all is that every single time I upload, for the remainder of the time I ever have a channel, you are going to get honest, authentic, and unbiased opinions. In the year of 2026, that definitely does have to count for something. I really do love and appreciate all the support. Until next time, guys. All right?